Okay, good afternoon everyone. My name is Samantha Blake. I'm the Deputy CEO of the Australian Food and Grocery Council. Firstly, I'd like to thank the Matthews team, Alex and Braden, for the invitation to join you today. I think Partner Hub is a really great addition to APAX, and hopefully you'll get some value out of the next couple of minutes. So a little bit about the Australian Food and Grocery Council. We're a member-based organisation representing food, beverage and grocery manufacturers and suppliers here in Australia. Everything from large multinational organisations like Nestle, Unilever, Fonterra, all the way down to privately run small family businesses like Beechworth Honey or Berenberg Jams. We work in four ways. We work on policy, which is making sure that we have the appropriate policy levers that will drive growth, competitiveness and profitability for the fast-moving consumer goods sector. We work on advocacy with federal, state and our trading partner friends to make sure that the voice of the industry is well understood. We work on collective action, and that's what I'll be speaking about most today, is how we work as an industry and collaborate. And then the fourth area is how we help our members navigate really complex issues. To do this, we work across a number of areas. We work on sustainability, we work on nutrition regulation, sales and commercial, and of course supply chain. And the supply chain is where I'm going to spend most of my time. So within the supply chain realm of work we do, we have what's called the Trading Partner Forum. The Trading Partner Forum brings together retailers and suppliers who are going to collaborate on driving efficiency in the supply chain. So they do that by identifying programs and works that they can collaborate on across the stream. We have an executive committee that works with us on this. That includes retailers Coles, Woolworths, Metcash, and New Zealand retailers Countdown and Foodstuffs. And then there's 5 multinational FMCG organisations that also work on these programs with us. Right, how do we do this? Firstly, it's that group comes together and identifies the areas where there are inefficiencies in the supply chain, and the supply chain that we're looking at is really the one between FMCG industry and the retail supermarket. Once we've identified or unearthed those issues, we'll bring together a group of subject matter experts who will do a deep dive into those topics to work out what we can do at an industry level to drive some improvements. From there, the group will determine what those outputs will be. They could be guides, standards, best practice. We'll then develop up collateral and material to share with the industry to try to drive that improvement. And then we follow that with a continuous improvement loop of measuring and then re-engineering the process. What I'm going to do is take you through 2 projects that explain this and maybe give you a little bit more of an example of how it works. The first one I'm going to talk about is data quality and data standards. So as you know, in supply chain, we do exchange a lot of information, a lot of data information, with a specific focus on supply chain product master data. So this is the data that you need to share with your retail trade partner to ensure that your product's moving through the supply chain effectively. We have found a significant amount of error and misalignment of that data. Our ambition is to get to single source of truth data for those key supply chain product master data points. 2022 we did a survey of this data. Andrew Steele will remember this very well. And it showed these amazing discrepancies in data within an organisation, between them and their trading partner, and in actual fact in the national product catalogue. The statistic that sits in my mind the most is there was a 75% difference in height, weight and depth of cartons within retail distribution centres within their own, within their various DCs. So DCA may have one measure, DCB would have a completely different measure. So no single source of truth of our product master data. So this piece of work looks to align that and get to a position where we're going to have single source of truth for data. Second project I'd like to talk about is the Common Delivery Guidelines, or our Perfect Delivery project. This project is very much focused on aligning the delivery requirements for products going into retail distribution centres. So we found early on that our key retailers here in Australia, Coles, Woolworths, Metcash and the others, all had slightly different requirements for getting product into the distribution centres. That then meant for a fast-moving consumer goods supplier, it was very difficult to meet or comply with those requirements. What we've been able to do, and credit to the retailers for this, is we've been able to broker an agreement around 115 of those standards to ensure that they're now aligned in the industry, and that they sit in this common delivery guidelines. All of the material I'm showing you today is free of charge. It's open source. You can download it from our website. So the 115 sit within this document, and they are then what we're able to use to drive compliance for deliveries that have been receipted into distribution centres and get improved, hopefully, eventually, on-shelf availability from them. So what does this look like? Here's just some examples of what you'll find in the Common Delivery Guidelines. So there'll be a page for an issue. This one's pallet and logistics units. It'll explain what the requirements are, and then it gives you some really nice graphics as to what is the good, the bad and the ugly, so you know what you need to follow. And here's a further example of pallets demonstrating this one's great, this one's not so good. We've supplemented this with some additional one-page guides. The one-page guides are standalone documents that you can pick up, you can download and have available for your team members, which again goes into what the requirements are and then some graphical representations of what that should look like. The graphical piece is really important as a quick ready reckoner for those that are working in DCs or on end of production lines, so they know what they're looking for. These documents can be used as part of your induction, town halls, or when you are having an issue with a particular delivery into a retail DC to understand what you need to do. Here's some further examples of the ones that fit into our data quality. I won't go through them, but I did want to highlight the fact that the AFGC partnered with GS1 a couple of years ago to develop up a series of 6 short videos, which again you can download from our website and or GS1's, which will take you through each of the components that you'll find on the Common Delivery Guidelines and the data quality work. So they were the key trading partner forum programs I wanted to touch on. I'd now like to spend just a couple of moments talking about some AFGC programs which further demonstrate what the industry is doing to collaborate across the broader supply chain to drive efficiency improvement and competitiveness in our sector. The first one I'd like to take you through is a piece of work that we're doing on developing a circular economy for soft plastics. My colleague Aaron Rodman here is in the audience, so if you've got any questions on this, I'm going to swiftly direct them to him. Thanks, Aaron. So as we know, there is currently an issue within our sector on soft plastics. We don't have the ability to be able to recycle this. It is a very contentious issue politically, it's a contentious issue for our consumers, and as brand owners we need to be responsible for what we do with our soft plastics at end of life. So what the AFGC is working on is a whole of chain approach where we're trying to bring all the key players in the sector together to develop up a circular economy for what we can do with soft plastics. So let me step you through how that will work, and then I'll talk about where we're at with the program. The idea with the program is to utilise existing infrastructure so that we're not having to build additional infrastructure. So that means you purchase the product, the soft plastic that you take off the product will be put into a specially designed curbside bag. That curbside bag will go into your normal recycling bin. The recycling bin gets collected, it goes through a sorting process, it'll get decontaminated, and then the process starts for converting that from a soft plastic back into the resin so it can be reformulated into film and go back into packaging. So there are some examples of where this has already occurred. So the Kit Kat, Nestlé's Kit Kat, is using recycled packaging in some of its products. To do this, as you can see, we need all aspects of the broader supply chain to work together. So that's the waste industry, the oil refineries, the transition back into film and so forth. It also needs to be food grade quality that we are converting so that it's safe for food products. Trials have taken place on this. We've worked with a number of local councils and had must be 10,000 households participate in programs with very successful results. The stage that we're at now is looking at how do we roll this out so that we have full integration across the sector. So huge amount of work and focus in this to collaborate to get this up and running. Not only is it looking at these players in the market, but it also has heavy involvement from our supermarket retail trading partners and also local council, state governments and federal governments. So a massive piece of work being undertaken on behalf of the industry. The other project that I wanted to talk about, completely switching gears now, is on digital labelling. So we all typically have a mobile phone, and we're now all used to scanning QR codes. COVID taught us how to do that very effectively. Currently, on a pack format, you will have the linear barcode. Technology has advanced so that we now have a thing called the 2D barcode, and I know there's been discussions here at Partner Hub on this in the last couple of days. What that means is that we do have the ability now and the desire for consumers to be able to scan a QR code on a product that will then open up further information to them. So you'd take out your phone, you'd scan it, and then you'd be able to get additional information that will tell you information about that product. So just as an example here, this is out of the US. This is a product called Smart Label that has gained some traction. When you scan the label, this is the little label here, you can access additional nutritional information and ingredient information. You can get the regulatory disclosures, certifications that come alongside that. If there's any awards or prizes or gamification that you want for the product. Recalls, which is really important for the industry, is you'll be able to advise the consumer directly of the recall, and of course recycling and sustainability. So all of this information will be available for the consumers. The other part that has happened that facilitates this taking place now is that we have a 2027 date whereby retail point of sale systems will be able to scan 2D globally. So they are now moving, retail organisations are now moving their point of sale scanners to facilitate the 2D barcode, which means we can have it on pack, they can use it at point of sale for the retail element, consumers can use it for the consumer information, and more importantly, that QR code can also have supply chain information in it as well. Where are we at globally? Globally, there's an organisation called the Consumer Goods Forum who are very focused on making sure that they can deliver 2D barcodes on their products and packaging as a way of communicating directly with consumers. So it's very exciting. Locally, we have an imperative, it's happening quickly, where we need to start putting our Australian recycling label on packaging. So that will also generate the need for digital labelling. So three things coming together at the one time. Firstly, the consumer demand. Secondly, the technology to enable it to happen. And thirdly, then a global imperative to get it happen. So that is an example. Those two are examples of AFGC projects that are underway, the recycling and the digital labelling. And then the projects I spoke about previously are more in the supply chain side, which are looking to drive and deliver those efficiencies. The last thing that I wanted to touch on in the last minute I've got available is just to give you a bit of a flavour in terms of the size and the importance of the sector. The FMCG sector is a $144 billion turnover sector. It's the largest manufacturing base in Australia. We employ directly 270,000 people. Just under 40% of those are based in regional areas. And as you can see, there's 17,000 businesses in the sector. So events like this today and our ability to be able to partner with Matthews on Partner Hub provides us an opportunity to showcase the FMCG sector and talk about some of the good activities that they have underway. So that's it for me. Thank you very much. I will be hanging around for a few minutes if there are any questions, and I'll hand over to our next presenter.